Hey everyone, today we're diving into a crucial mechanic in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the super counter. This move is a game changer, and understanding how to use it effectively can elevate your gameplay. We'll break down its mechanics, strategies for using it, ways to counter it, and how to practice it to perfection. So what exactly is a super counter? This mechanic functions similarly to the Z counter, but it has its nuances. To execute a super counter, you need to press up and attack at the exact moment an opponent's move is about to hit you. This timing window is only 2 frames wide, which means you have to be incredibly precise. Additionally, there's a 12 frame cooldown after you use it, preventing you from spamming this powerful move. The timing is a bit stricter than the Z counter, but the good news is that using the super counter doesn't cost any ki or skill points. This makes it a strategic choice, especially when you find yourself under pressure. If you're already taking damage from an incoming attack, attempting a super counter can be a smart move since you're already vulnerable. Recognizing the right moments to deploy a super counter is key. One excellent opportunity is during vanish exchanges, situations where both players are trying to outmaneuver each other and force the other to waste ki or until they have no more ki to get hit. If your ki is low and you can't vanish, or if you just don't feel like spending any ki at all, this is a perfect time to attempt a super counter. Just remember, if you mess up, you could be taking even more damage if you hadn't attempted at all. This is from them following up for additional combos, but if they hit you with a knockback, the next attack that they try to follow up with from the knockback resets the super counter vanish war situation, so you can attempt to go for it again. This move also works against nearly all types of attacks except for delayed hits, ki blasts, and super moves. Knowing when and how to use it can create significant advantages. The super counter's effectiveness stems from its ability to disrupt your opponent's rhythm. You still utilize it against delayed hits, but you need to be in sync with your opponent's timing. Players often mix up their attack speed, so you have to remain adaptable. During fast rush strings, you can sometimes mash your timing since the sequences typically lack gaps. However, as players begin to switch with their timing, or when you're engaged in a vanish or super counter war, the dynamics shift dramatically. The timing becomes far more challenging, which can throw off even seasoned players. Another aspect of the super counter is its ability to create pressure. When you consistently threaten your opponent with a super counter, they may hesitate to execute certain moves, keeping them off balance. This psychological element can be just as powerful as the actual mechanics. If you're on the offensive and think your opponent might be going for a super counter, you'll need to adjust your strategy accordingly. Creating gaps and delays in your attack sequence can disrupt their timing. For example, try mixing up your button presses or charging your triangle hits during strings. This approach can keep your opponent off balance and make it harder for them to successfully pull off a super counter. Movement also plays a crucial role in countering super counters. Techniques like stepping, dashing, and using Z-burst dash while attacking can create openings. These movements can help you maintain the upper hand and keep your opponent from landing that counter they're looking for. The super counter's versatility is one of its greatest strengths. It can be used in a variety of situations, whether you're blocking, not blocking, or even a hit stun. Mastering the timing is crucial for maximizing the effectiveness of the move. You can even counter grabs with the super counter, which can catch your opponent completely off guard. However, if you vanish after getting super counter instead of super countering back, the game may impose stricter timing conditions on you. This can force you into a difficult situation where you're losing ki while your opponent capitalizes on their advantage, forcing you to waste ki as they keep their ki and taking damage from you. The ability to change your timing can be a significant advantage. If you find yourself hit by a super counter, consider your next move carefully. Many players tend to fall into predictable patterns, making it easier for you to throw them off. One effective strategy is to take the initial hit and follow it with a revenge counter, shifting the momentum back in your favor. For instance, baiting your opponent by intentionally allowing them to hit you, you can lure them into a false sense of security. After they strike, quickly countering can catch them off guard, allowing you to take control of the match. One of the most compelling aspects of the super counter is how it establishes a much needed and welcome skill gap in gameplay, something that many modern fighting games have attempted to remove. If your super counters are executed crispy, only high level players will be able to crack your defense. They won't be able to rely on the simple layer 0 or layer 1 offense. Instead, they'll need to step up their game to find openings in your defense. This added depth encourages players to refine their skills and develop more sophisticated strategies, creating a more competitive environment. Imagine you're facing a player known for their aggressive rushdown style. As they initiate their attack, you time your super counter perfectly, catching them off guard. This not only mitigates the damage, but allows you to retaliate with your own offense. Another example could be during a tense advantage exchange. Both players are looking for openings, but with your knowledge of the super counter and execution, you time your response perfectly. You catch your opponent's attack, creating an opening for a devastating combo that shifts the momentum in your favor. Good way to practice super counters is in the battle tutorial and in training mode. In the battle tutorial with Piccolo, you can select super counter and let Piccolo try to rush you, and you attempt to super counter the rush. Also in training, go and set you and the dummies HP to max, then go to the opponent settings, set the opponent to lift strikes. Then let them attempt to hit you and try to super counter their follow-ups. That's a good way to get used to the rhythm in the most common spots. Then when the dummy tries to do a vanish, you super counter the vanish and try to attempt to start a super counter versus vanish war until you can win. These are very common situations when a super counter will occur, so you want to get used to this timing defensively. Now offensively, just pretend the opponent is going for a super counter and start adding gaps to your combo drills versus the dummy. Freestyle your offense, and don't forget to mix in grabs and key blasts. Another way you can practice super counters is just teaming up with a friend and just having an only super counter match where you only can win by super counter. So you guys got to put yourself in the situations over and over again. This will help you drill it and get it to the point where it's like water. And once you got used to doing it in a match with your friends, start trying to do it in ranked matches and matches with people you don't normally play. So then you're comfortable doing it in uncomfortable situations as well. And this will raise your super counter success rate. All right, guys, that wraps up our in-depth look at the super counter in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Mastering this technique can really elevate your gameplay, forcing your opponents to adapt and giving you a real edge. Keep practicing, experiment with different scenarios, and don't get discouraged if it takes time to get it right. If this guide helped, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more tips, and let me know in the comments how super counter is working out for you. Also, I want to let you all know that I haven't been able to stream for the past week due to issues with my internet service provider. It's been frustrating, but as soon as everything's back up and running, the streams will return to their regular schedule. I can't wait to be back with you all, breaking down more strategies live and getting into some high-level matches. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.